Hi everyone, today we're diving into an interesting and often overlooked topic, the role of self-esteem in financial success. How you feel about yourself can have a huge impact on how you manage your money, make financial decisions, and ultimately how successful you become financially. Let's explore why. Let's start with a question. When you look in the mirror, not at your reflection, but at who you are, what do you see? That answer right there is your self-esteem in action. Self-esteem is the quiet voice in your head that tells you whether you are enough. It's how much you believe you deserve happiness, success, respect, and yes, even financial stability. It's not about being perfect or bragging. It's about having an inner sense of worth, even when things aren't going your way. Think of it as the foundation of every decision you make. If your self-esteem is strong, you're more likely to say, I can handle this, I can figure it out, I deserve more. But if it's shaky, you might shrink back, avoid opportunities, or sabotage your own progress, sometimes without even realizing it. Now, here is where it gets real. Self-esteem doesn't just affect how you feel. It affects how you spend, how you save, how you invest, and how you earn. If you don't believe you're worthy of success, you might not ask for that raise, even if you have earned it. If you think you are bad with money, you might avoid learning how to budget or invest, even though that's a skill anyone can build. If you've convinced yourself you're just not the type to be financially secure, you'll start living like that's true. And just like that, your financial choices start to reflect your self-esteem, not your actual potential. Here's the truth. You don't have to be rich to start building self-esteem. But if you want to build wealth, the kind that lasts, starting with self-esteem is one of the smartest moves you can make, because the way you see yourself shapes the way you treat yourself. And that includes how you treat your money. Self-esteem doesn't magically appear in adulthood. It starts forming in childhood long before you ever touched money, signed a lease, or opened a savings account. It begins with the messages you received, witnessed, and observed about your value as a person. If you've been encouraged, listened to, and treated like your thoughts mattered, chances are you begin to build a healthy sense of self-worth. But if you were criticized often, made to feel like you had to earn love or approval, or grew up in an unstable or high-stressed environment, that self-worth may have been shaky from the start. And here is where it gets even more powerful. Whatever you believed about yourself back then became the foundation for your financial behavior now. Let's say, as a kid, you saw your parents constantly stressing about money. Maybe they argued, or maybe they didn't talk about it at all. That silence taught you something. Money is scary, it's stressful, it causes conflict, better to avoid it. Or maybe you were praised only when you succeeded, get good grades, behaved perfectly, or helped out. That taught you my worth is tied to my performance. So now, as an adult, if you're not making enough, you feel like you are not enough. These early emotional blueprints don't just affect how you feel, they shape how you act. Do you save money or spend it the second you get it? Do you take pride in earning or feel guilt when you do well? Do you avoid looking at your finances because it brings up anxiety or even shame? These aren't random habits. They are responses to emotional wiring that started when you were young. But here is a hope in all of this. Self-esteem is not set in stone. Yes, childhood shapes us, but it doesn't have to define us forever. Once you become aware of those old patterns, you can begin to rewrite the script. You can practice self-compassion. You can learn how to separate your net worth from your self-worth. You can start to believe deeply that you are enough without having to prove it with a paycheck. You can build the new kind of relationship with money, one that isn't built on fear, pressure, or survival, but on trust, growth, and respect for yourself. Because when your self-esteem starts to heal, your financial life starts to shift with it. Let's talk about something that makes or breaks financial growth: the willingness to take risks and make financial decisions. Here is the thing: every big move you make with money involves a level of uncertainty. Investing, negotiating a salary, starting a business, even choosing to save instead of spend in the moment, it's all a form of decision making under pressure. And guess what fuels those decisions? Self-esteem. People with healthy self-esteem don't just hope things will work out, They believe that they can handle whatever happens, even if things don't go perfectly. That belief creates a safety net, not in your bank account, but in your mindset. It's not about being reckless or throwing money at every new trend. It's about being grounded and brave at the same time. Someone with solid self-esteem will say, I don't know everything, but I will learn. I might fail, but I'll grow. Or I'm not waiting for permission to move forward. Now compare it to someone with low self-esteem. They may avoid making decisions altogether, waiting for the perfect moment that never comes. They might let fear of failure stop them from trying, or feel like they're not smart enough to handle financial risks, even when they absolutely are. And this doesn't just apply to huge life choices, it's in the little things too. Deciding to create a budget, calling your bank to ask questions, saying no to a bad deal, speaking up with something that doesn't feel right. All of those are financial decisions that require confidence, the kind that comes from within. So the next time you're faced with a money decision, big or small, ask yourself, am I holding back because the risk is real, or am I holding back because I don't believe in myself enough to take it? When you build self-esteem, you build courage. When you build courage, you create the momentum, the kind of momentum that opens financial doors and keeps them open. Let's be real for a second. Financial setbacks happen to everyone. You can budget, plan, save, and still get hit with something unexpected: a job loss, a medical bill, a bad investment, a global crisis. No one is immune. But here's the difference. How you respond to setback is often shaped more by your self-esteem than your savings account. If your self-esteem is strong, you might feel the sting, of course you will, but you won't let it define you. Instead of spiraling into shame or panic, you'll say, okay, this sucks, but I can bounce back. I have handled hard things before. You'll ask for help if you need it. You'll look for solutions instead of excuses. You'll adapt. Now let's flip the script. If your self-esteem is low, the financial setback can feel like a confirmation of every negative belief you had already about yourself. See, I'm bad with money. I knew I'd screw this up. Why do I even bother trying? That mindset doesn't just slow your recovery, it locks you in place. You might give up, withdraw, or ignore the problem until it gets worse. And the worst part, you'll start internalize your failure as your identity. But here is the truth: a setback is a situation, not a sentence. It's something you went through, not something you are. Financial resilience isn't just about having resources. It's about having belief in your own ability to rebuild. That's where self-esteem makes all the difference. People with healthy self-esteem know that failure is a feedback, not a full stop. They use setbacks as stepping stones, learning lessons, adjusting strategies, and moving forward with more clarity than before. So the next time you hit a financial wall, because eventually we all do, remind yourself of this. You are still capable, you are still learning, and you are still worthy of success. Setbacks don't erase your potential, they reveal your resilience. So far, we've explored how your self-esteem influences your financial choices, from your ability to take risks to how you recover from setbacks. But now comes the most important part: how do you actually build it? But here is the truth: you don't need to wait to feel confident to start making better financial decisions. You build confidence by taking small, consistent actions, even when it feels uncomfortable. Self-esteem isn't a switch you flip, it's something you strengthen, like a skill. And yes, financial self-esteem is a real thing, and you can develop it no matter where you're starting from. Set small, doable financial goals and follow through. Confidence grows when you keep promises to yourself. It could be saving $10 this week, paying one bill early, or checking your bank account without flinching. This might sound minor, but each one builds track record of trust with yourself. If I can do this, I can do the next thing, and the next. Reframe how you talk to yourself. Watch the language you use when you think or talk about money. Replace "I am terrible with money" with "I'm learning how to manage my finances." Instead of "I'll never be rich," try "I'm building something step by step." Your inner dialogue is like mental soil. If you plant shame or fear, you'll grow avoidance. But if you plant patience and belief, you'll grow consistency and confidence. Celebrate progress, not perfection. You don't have to get everything right, nobody does. But did you stop impulse spending today? Did you ask a question you were scared to ask? Did you choose clarity over avoidance? Those are victories. Celebrate them. Each small act of courage builds self-esteem, and with it, your financial stability. Learn something new regularly. Self-esteem grows when you equip yourself with knowledge. You don't need to become a finance expert overnight. Just read one article, watch a short video, ask one question. Learning demystifies money and removes the shame that keeps you stuck. You begin to realize, oh, I'm not bad with money, I just never got the right tools. Practice financial boundaries. Self-esteem is about honoring your needs, even if it disappoints others. Say no to lending money you can't afford to give. Say no to pressure spending just to fit in. Say yes to protecting your peace, your progress, and your financial vision. Every boundary you keep is the act of self-respect, and self-respect is the self-esteem in action. Financial self-esteem isn't about being rich. It's about believing you are worth the effort it takes to grow. It's about showing up for yourself, even if you feel behind. It's about learning to treat yourself like someone who deserves financial safety, freedom, and joy, because you do. And when your self-worth rises, your financial world often follows. By now you understand how self-esteem and financial success are deeply connected, but what can you actually do about it? The answer: habits. Because lasting change doesn't come from one big breakthrough. It comes from small, consistent actions that build confidence, shift your mindset, and create a healthy relationship with money over time. Here are daily and weekly habits that you can start right now to strengthen both your self-esteem and your financial clarity. Do a 2-minute morning affirmation check-in. Start your day with a quick grounding practice. Say affirmations out loud, write them in a journal, or even record yourself as a voice memo. Try: I am learning how to manage my money with confidence. My self-worth is not defined by my income. I make choices today that support my future. It may feel awkward at first, but over time, this trains your brain to build trust in yourself. Track one positive financial action per day. Big or small, log one financial decision each day that supports your growth. It could be bringing lunch instead of eating out, checking your balance, declining an impulse buy, or just opening that budgeting app. Why? Because confidence comes from evidence. You are proving to yourself daily that you can handle your finances. Set a weekly money date with yourself. Once a week, spend 20-30 minutes reviewing your finances. Light a candle, play music, make it something you don't dread. Look at your spending, your progress toward a goal, or just review what's working. The goal isn't perfection, it's awareness. The more familiar you are with money, the less power it has to scare or control you. Keep a wins journal, not just for money. Every day or week, write down one thing you're proud of. It could be financial or personal, asking a question you were afraid to ask, standing up for yourself, sticking to a plan, or even just resting when you needed to. This helps break the toxic pattern of tying your worth only to productivity or income. Clean up your mental and digital environment. Unfollow accounts that make you feel behind or less than. Mute the lifestyle comparison trap. Instead, follow creators and communities that talk honestly about money, growth, and self-worth, not just highlight reels. You're allowed to curate the energy you let in. Talk about money openly, honestly, and kindly. Speak up, ask questions, share your journey. Talking about money, especially in healthy, shame-free ways, normalizes the growth and breaks the cycle of secrecy that keeps people stuck. The more you treat money like a neutral subject, the more confident and emotionally free you'll feel. You don't have to do them all at once. Start with one and stick to it. And most importantly, remember that you are not building these habits just to have more money. You are building them to strengthen the relationship you have with yourself. Because the truth is, financial clarity isn't just about the dollars, it's about dignity. It's about about believing you are worth taking care of. Thank you so much for watching and taking the time to explore how self-esteem plays a huge role in your financial journey. Remember, financial success isn't just about the numbers, it starts from within, how you see and value yourself. If you take one thing away from this video, let it be this. Building your self-esteem is one of the smartest investments you can make because it influences every financial decision you'll ever make. So start small, be patient with yourself, and keep showing up. Now, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights on money, mindset, and personal growth. And drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts or experiences with self-esteem and money. Until next time, keep believing in yourself and your financial potential.